The city of Denver is expected to unveil a new approach to the city's drug and prevention programs in the coming days. That is one of the many things we learned in Mayor Michael Hancock's State of the City address this past week. The mayor announced a new team to work with changing neighborhoods and keeping up with rising rent while maintaining the character of the community. Even so, he acknowledged the days ahead will be difficult.
Cities change. Denver is transforming. And this growth is putting serious pressure on our people. We need to make sure people can afford to live here. We need to protect what we love about our neighborhoods. This is how Denver will continue to rise together.
Now, at one point, the mayor referenced a Contact 7 investigation exposing sexually explicit texts that he sent to a woman on his security detail, and he apologized for the media scrutiny over the past 6 months. Blair Miller with the DenverChannel.com joins us now to talk more about this State of the City address. You noted that really one of the things people are most talking about from that State of the City address was the affordable housing issue and how the mayor planned to address that.
Right, and I mean, obviously anyone who lives in Denver, even along the Front Range, knows that the affordable housing issue has been pretty much one of the biggest issues we've been talking about in recent years. You know, a lack of being able to have people who can afford an apartment that's under maybe $1,000 a month. And so one of the ideas there really was to use some of the marijuana tax revenue that the city is taking in and couple that with maybe a bonding project they'd send to voters in order to establish 6,000 new affordable housing units. And I mean, it's kind of a, you know, I mean, it's a contingent on a lot of different things. And he talked about trying to pull from other little places too. But it's clear that, I mean, he had to address the affordable housing issue, and this is definitely a start, but I think some people say, you know, it's generally it's not enough, and I think that those people are going to keep saying it's not enough because of how everything is growing.
Well, gentrification is a bad word, I think, in Denver right now, and so that's really what he's trying to address.
Right, and that was
maintaining our communities.
Yeah, that was really the focus of it all. I mean, you can't really talk about affordable housing without talking about gentrification either, as you know, a lot of these places that are losing their affordable housing are these, you know, classic communities where minorities have generally been in the majority of the population, and we've seen all of those neighbors get gentrified over the past few years, and whether it's the start of it or they're kind of further along like they are in Rhino. And so a lot of what he talked about the whole time was trying to prevent gentrification and to keep those intact. And, you know, there's a lot of promises there, a lot of talk of money going certain places and of, you know, really just trying to work with the community. And yeah, I mean, this is stuff that he's been talking about for a while now, and we have seen, you know, the city make changes over the past few years, but as I said before, there's still those people out there that say this isn't happening fast enough or in enough quantity.
Or it's just all of it is happening too fast.
Right.
And that's what he calls the NEST program.
Yeah, it was the NEST team. It's essentially a team he's going to put together to go out to these various communities and to identify, you know, where they can kind of keep intact these classic neighborhoods, these classic businesses, these affordable housing structures, and where they can put in new structures and new plans in place to kind of uphold the integrity of those communities. And I think that's the new big push that came out of the State of the City address.
Dealing with transportation issues, right, in Denver.
And that was the other facet of the whole speech. Really, it was, you know, the gentrification and housing, and then how do we move around. And so part of the plan is to bring 125 new miles of bike lanes and bike trails to Denver, which I think would be beneficial for this area. You have the Cherry Creek Trail, but not a whole lot else out there. Also talking about maybe a shuttle service between Cherry Creek through Cap Hill to Lodo, which I think a lot of people who live in that area would be very happy about, myself included. And yeah, and also he talked more about the dockless scooters and bikes that we've seen around town coming and going and coming back, and they've already laid out that there's going to be a plan in place, but I think that's part of these transit issues that they're hoping to solve, just so you don't have every single person driving to work through downtown every single day.
I know the city is trying to avoid that, but boy, a lot of us drive a long way to get downtown.
Oh yeah.
And then parking, there's that whole other issue, but
yeah,
there's so much to discuss.
There's a lot more to address out of all this, I think, is, yeah, exactly what the outcome of that whole thing was.
All right, well, we will see what happens with the state of the city of Denver. Blair Miller, thank you so much from thedenverchannel.com. By the way, if you ever have a question or a segment idea for us, you can tweet us any old time at Denver 7 Politics. And don't forget, you can watch today's segments at thedenverchannel.com/Politics Unplugged. Thank you so much for joining us. We will see you back here next Sunday for another edition of Politics Unplugged.